Hello, BookTube. This is Kelly with Books I'm Not Reading. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to talk about something like an area of books that seems absent from BookTube, and it could just be that I'm still so new to BookTube that I haven't found it, but I really hear no one talking about these books, which are business books. This is not the secret that, was kind of shelved in New Age or whatever. Ken Blanchard's written a whole bunch of books, like including One Minute Manager, I think he was the author of as well. Anyway, so the reason that I wanted to talk about these, well, first was that nobody seems to be talking about these books on BookTube, but also I actually work for someone who said, let's read a book together. And I said, okay. And she got the books and we read them and we actually talked about them. And I've had a lot of employers in the past who have encouraged me to read something and they did not read it. They never talked to me about it. We did not engage in it. So consequently, I don't remember a whole lot about it other than just being a bit bitter that somebody, forced me to read something for my job and yet did not read it themselves, was not familiar with the content of it. So the book we read, that I read with my boss is this one, The Secret, What Great Leaders Know and Do. It is about servant leadership, essentially. Excuse me. And, it's very short. There's a self-assessment in the back. I'm so sorry. One of the things I find fascinating about these books is there is a trend, and maybe it's not a trend, there are a lot of business books out there that are written like novels. And it's so weird. So, this one starts off with Debbie and she's been promoted, but suddenly they're not meeting their sales goals, and it's just a bit wacky to me. It's a bit strange that someone would write a business book as a novel. So that's a little bit weird to me. But like I said, my boss and I did read it together, and she's wanted to know what would be a good book for our office to read. Maybe it would be an optional thing. I, of course, suggested we should read Gone with the Wind. But I think she would love, I think if I had a good recommendation for something for our office to read, that she would look into it. So I wanted to know if those of you who, maybe your boss has asked you to read something in the past, have you found something that was really effective? And I'm going to share a couple other books that I've been required to read in the past. This one's called Hospitality from the Heart by Brandon W. Johnson. The subtitle is Engage Your Employees, Deliver Extraordinary Service, and Create Loyal Guests. So this was a book that everyone in the organization I was a part of at that time read. And we actually met the author, who was quite nice. Yeah, here's his business card, and is a positive energy guy. And it says, energy is everything. True of many things. This one is also written as a novel, and it stars, I'm trying to think of what the guy's name is. I think it's Jim. Yeah, Burned Out and Misguided Jim Watts. And I remember, I believe, he's on his way to a conference or something like that. I'm sorry, I should hold this up. He's on his way to a conference, and he and his wife get caught in this big snowstorm, and he's so obsessed because he's supposed to be at this conference or this business meeting or something, and they get trapped at this hotel or lodge kind of place, And anyway, so every chapter is like a different employee in the lodge, hotel, whatever. There's a guy in the bar, there's somebody in the kitchen, there's the owner, of course, eventually makes an appearance, all that kind of stuff. And there's little plaques around the hotel. It's so strange to me. Like, and I honestly wish, well, it's just like not every job applies to every business book, I realize. But sometimes I wish they would just be straightforward instead of trying to tell it through story. Maybe they feel like that's more powerful. I'm not sure, but it's confusing to me. So anyway, so this was another one. He was very, very engaging speaker. I will give him that. And the other one that I've read that I have a copy of, this is a library copy, it's called The Art of Possibility. And it is by, and I apologize because there's this horrible sticker on the front, Rosamund Stone Zander and Benjamin Zander. And he is like a conductor for an orchestra. And she has experience maybe in like, I want to say therapy or something. It was quite a while ago that I read this book. I was working for Barnes & Noble at the time, and so I said, oh yeah, so she is a family therapist and a landscape painter, and he, at the time of this publication anyway, was conductor of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra and a professor at the New England Conservatory of Music. So, and the subtitle is Transforming Professional and Personal Life. And I actually really liked this book. I mean, it's not 5 stars or anything like that, but it's a really good book. But it was so weird that my employer at Barnes & Noble assigned it to me, and again, he did not read it, because when I was reading it, I was kind of almost like ducking down, like hiding, cover, like I felt like I had like some illegal like banned book in my hands, because what these people are saying is so contradictory to the policies and procedures that Barnes & Noble had at the time. It has been 8 years since I worked there, and so I have no idea what the work culture there is like now, but this book was definitely not the way Barnes & Noble was responding to things. So I felt like I was going to suggest this one to her, but I wanted to ask you guys, do you know of a book that would help an organization just provide better services, work better as a team, leadership, that kind of thing? Because I do feel like my boss is very open to ideas and suggestions. So I would love to hear if you have any. And also, like, why do we never talk about these books on BookTube? Somebody tell me that. Is it just because, yeah, they're never 5-star books? I mean, they're never the things like that when we were done, we were like, oh, that was so wonderful. Is it because it's a chore that someone's making us read them? I'm not sure. But anyway, I really look forward to your thoughts and comments on this. And I thank you so much for watching. Love the comments. Love the dialogue. So let's keep that up, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, BookTube.